Did not think I'd be getting back to this game series so soon. And also, hi, it's been a while! Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Guacamelee 2, starting off with a special for our 8th anniversary, although it's about a week late. Also, yeah, it's been about 5 months since you heard from me. I'll get an update video about this soon, but the project I've been working on has taken a while to come to fruition, and we're almost done with it, but we're not just quite there yet. Gonna be playing on normal mode because it's normal mode.
Previamente en Guacamelee.
Juan, this way! Kalaka has captured Lupita. He's about to merge the worlds of the living and the dead. This will be challenging even for you, even in your prime.
Don't worry, Juan, you got this. Wow, they're just going right in with the final boss.
What are you waiting for? No time waits. Time waits for no luchador. We've had our differences, but I believe in you, mi amigo. Fight fiercely.
Yeah, the game decides to pull a bit of a Rondo of blood for the early combat tutorial. Juan!
How dare you interrupt my moment!
Your words are as empty as you sow, you ugly charo. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
What is a luchador? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk! Have at you!
I guess more of a symphony of the night. So starting off, we actually go right into a much easier version of the Kalaka boss fight. He doesn't have many invincibility frames, and you do a lot more damage to him. Just based off the fact that, you know, it's the first fight in the game, gotta refresh your control rolls. He'll teleport all over the place, doing the usual slashes and jump shockwaves. The purple and white attacks still aren't dodgeable if you decide to dodge through them.
Luchador. You are lucky I spent all my energy on the ritual. But you are too late. For the Black Sun arrives. Come, witness the merging of life and death, and the beginning of my new world order. The power. I can feel it welling inside me. Behold, I am Kalaka, god of the living and the dead. Now tremble under my rule.
This fight especially is much easier than it is in the original game just due to the amount of damage you do to him. In the original game, like, the best way to do damage was to throw the meteorites at him, and that's still pretty much the case. But you can do very sizable damage just by punching him right in his face. Kind of let down in a way, but nostalgia does this to things. That scream still makes me laugh a little bit. And now for the ending again. Just based off the warranty of how the game worked in the original game, the game does base what's about to happen off of the good ending. So, yeah. Oh shit, my door's open. No memories. Oh god, my stomach. Papa, are you looking at your posters again? It's playtime. Seven years later. Oh, looks like our little abode's gotten a good upgrade in the agave field here. Nice little visual storytelling thing here, by the way. Just the amount of details in the backgrounds, like the rooms decorated. Sileto, have you seen the kids? I guess I'm gonna have to eat all the ice cream myself. I think they're calling my bluff. I might actually eat all the ice cream. And now weird little divergence here. You can actually just go down here and see the kids. You can just go up to the top floor to continue on and plot anyway. I'm a tomato. Shh. Okay then. I don't know why. I just like how completely out of nowhere that line is. Now, like with the first game, this is not the first time I've played through this game, but this is also only the second time, so I might be a bit more lost than I was in Guacamelee 1. So who's hungry for tacos? Me! Well, they're almost ready. Esperanza, Juanito, get off the table. Oh no, we're all out of avocados. Your father must have eaten them all. Juan, maybe the market is still open. Think maybe you could pick some up? I have to finish my dissertation. Alright, first objective, get some avocados. Not a fan myself, but I have to admit, their place in culture is quite admirable. And one thing you're going to immediately notice right off the bat is that while Guacamelee 1 looked great, Guacamelee 2 looks amazing. Like, the animations are much smoother, and the new lighting engine they have going on just, makes everything pop just right. Welcome back to Puebluca, where things are extraordinarily peaceful, as you can tell by the fact that everyone is here and trees are growing extraordinarily well. Free appetizer. Yeah, that's how you always get us. It's so strange. I've been doing this for hours and it doesn't seem to be getting any longer. Juan, it's nice to see you out and about. I know Lupita worries sometimes. You have to bring the family over again for dinner sometime soon. My new tortilla soup will knock your socks off. Ah, Juan, the old hero emerges from his slumber. I haven't seen you run since the great tortilla scare. How's the familia? Avocados? Well, you better hurry. I saw Freya Yeye around the vendor. He looked hungry. Seems like just yesterday we were rivals and Calaca was defeated. How things have changed, mi amigo. Yeah, 7 years will do that. Don't see many luchadors around these parts anymore. I see you're still wearing your brow proudly after all these years, though. I'm surprised it still fits. Juan, looking for avocados? Frey just bought them all today. Sorry. Maybe you should go see him in the church. Alright. And now this is going to be a bit of me more exploring than I did in my original playthrough, because I actually didn't talk to all these people in my first run through. Huh, this house is looking fixed up. Zatabe! Well, look what the Abrija dragged in. What, you don't visit anymore, Juan? Avocados? No, sorry, I don't have any. Frey might have some up in the church. Good luck turning one away from him, though. I'm gonna need to remember all the voices I did for these people, because it's been a bit. The mansion rooms are that way. No one's allowed to go there for reasons. Well, it kinda got lit on fire, so I'm not too terribly surprised that it's condemned. Either way, let's just talk to this one last person and then go upstairs to say hi to Frey. It's those subtle little punchlines like that I missed in these games. Hey, Frey, still got the Zelda reference, I see. Oh, Juan, you'd like some avocados? I had a full berry earlier today, but I'm almost out. Tell you what, get rid of the empty barrel for me, I'll give you a few for my private stash. How did you use that many avocados that quickly? Also, yeah, wow, we've let ourselves go severely if one barrel's taking this long to crack. In Guacamelee 1, didn't he do this in one shot? Wow. Sorry, I thought it'd be easier. Here you go. Caramba, what was that? Juan, did you go see what's happening? You're not gonna come with? Oh, they don't want to animate you. Those weird black things just appeared. I know. Juan, one of those black things is on the town statue, too. What? Esqueletos! Save us, Juan! Oh no, standard skeleton enemies. Juan! Sorry about the skeletons. I'm so glad I found you, man. Quickly, we must travel to the darkest timeline. The Mexiverse is in grave danger. Please, there's no time to explain. Jump through this portal, and I'll meet you on the other side. Okay. I guess you should go. Sounds like they really need you. We'll be okay. Papa, you broke a skeleton. Bring me back and I'll freeze you, Dad. Juan, be careful. Be careful, Juan. I'll handle these two esqueletos. One of those black dudes will disappear if we can make a straight line of them. Man, I wish I could open interdimensional portals. I know, right? Okay, I'll be honest, a Twilight Zone reference was not on the list of things I expected out of this game. Oh no, this isn't right at all. This feels about halfway there, like some sort of purgatory. But it's definitely not the darkest timeline. Seeing a reference to this game of all things is also not the things I expected in this game. Come on, it can't be much farther. I see that up there. Yay! Baddest timeline. Bad Hombres. Triple Dragon. Rivera City Ransom. Oh, I get it. El Presidente has been kidnapped by ninjas. Are you a bad enough hombre to rescue
No, come here, Juan. We can't get sidetracked.
This is the baddest timeline, not the darkest. Sorry, I'm a bit rusty with these portals. I'm feeling good about this next jump, though. Andale. Getting all the references out of the way from the start, I see. Actually, I'm wondering, what happens if you talk to him again? Juan, no more side quests. Get in here. Alright. Did we get the right place now? Based off the loading screen, I'm gonna say yes. This is it, the darkest timeline. This way, please. Well, I've certainly seen this place look a little better. Hi, Flying Face. I'm sure we can fix this. I can't believe it, Señores White Chivos. It was horrible. Please describe what happened. I was just fixing my bike when Salvador, the Salvador, the one that killed Kalaka, showed up. He had a gang of weirdos with him. A magician, a dead dog lady, a talking cactus. Careful, boss. The top one's not a step.
The suspense is killing me. Again.
What? No, I'm the brains. You're the muscle.
Silence. I need to prepare my monologue. But first... Ah, the golden relic. Soon I will reach the Molcajete. And its sacred contents will give me strength. It's just some salsa stuck in my throat. I'm still as strong as ever.
The golden relic. This could mean trouble. Also, after Salvador took the relic, strange black things began to appear in the sky. And the skeletons are becoming more frequent. No bones about it! Oh, you're back, Chivo24. I didn't see you there. We were just... Hi. Wait. Please don't tell me that is the one. Yes, this is the last Juan alive. The very Juan I told you about. He defeated Calaca in his timeline, saved Lupita, and survived. Wow, increíble. This is the Juan? Yes. Alright, well, only surviving Juan, please step forward. Have you heard of the 3 ancient relics? Nope. Salvador has taken one of the 3 relics created by the god of time. But disturbing these relics could cause the timelines to collapse in on themselves. Salvador's evil ambition may very well lead to... the end of the Mexiverse. Santa Morimana, not the Mexiverse! Juan, go and find Mascot and Tostada in the mangrove swamp to the east, Los Manglares. Tostada will help you find the sacred mask. You're going to need it if you hope to stop Salvador. Okay. Also, full disclosure, like I said in the first game, I don't speak a lick of Spanish beyond the common phrases from, like, Dora the Explorer, because I watched that a little bit as a kid. So if I try to speak the Spanish and I completely mangle it, I am sorry. My foreign language of choice as an American in school was actually Chinese, but I left that after a few years, and thanks to Duolingo, I've been practicing German. But Spanish is not my forte. Juan, the fate of the Mexiverse is in your manos. Hands of Fate? Did that bad guy say something about salsa? It's nice to see a living Juan again. High five, buddy. Also, there's like 5 Chivos. That's potentially terrifying. Juan Aguacate? You're alive? I thought you died at the hands of Calaca years ago. Also, a Hi Steven Universe reference. I have to watch that show at some point. He-Man, Black Panther, this developer's other game that's not Guacamelee. This game does not calm down on the references at all. However, compared to Guacamelee 1, especially Gold Edition, there's a lot less straight-up meme references and more so just references to other games and pop culture in general that are going to age better than the Grumpy Cat one in the first one, for instance. Well, home's looking a bit, scary. I'm sure my house is fine. Oh. Never mind. Well, see you later, Pueblo Luco. We'll visit you again later because now it's time for us to head to Los Manglares. After the loading goes on. I'll probably start cutting out the load times in part 2 onwards because they're not bad load times, but aside from like the little visual flavor text, like after the first time we see each area's load screen, I'll probably cut it out. Like in the first game, the green water here is not instant death. It actually just sends you back to the start of the thing you tried to jump over. And that's going to come into play through 85+% of the platforming challenges in the game. Starting off, though, Juan does not have much you can do. He can do a bit more than he could at the beginning of Guacamelee 1, though. And control-wise, it's more or less the same. X is going to be your punch button. A jumps. The amount you hold it down makes the height and length of your jump change a little bit. So it's standard stuff, really. Hi, Tostada. Juan? It is you! Wait, Chiba really did it, that crazy goat. It's me, Tostada, Guardian of the Mask. Do you remember me? It's really strange to see you again. Nice mustache, by the way, so thick. We were so close to defeating Calaca in this timeline, Juan. I swear, we won't make that same mistake with Salvador. Just hold still and close your eyes. This'll only take a second. Ow! Ah! World of the Dead. It's been a bit. Oh, they even have the zombie chicken still. Hey guys, I missed you. You're so cute. Well, can't head that way. Ah, that looks familiar. So sorry about killing you back there. I had to get you to the world of the dead. Anyway, look, here it is. It's a bit tattered from the last adventure, but it's waiting for you, Juan. Go on, before you turn into a skeleton. That's the one I remember. Oh, I remember seeing the mustache. Now we just need to get you back to the world of the living. The council can help with that. They're further east in Pantanillo, the swamp town. Let's go, Juan. I'll be around if you need me. And now, if you have someone with you, you can start off the co-op stuff. Like in Guacamelee 1, you can have 2+ players with you at a time. That mostly just comes in handy during combat situations, but it can be fun enough. There are gonna be more characters to play as this time around, though, because in the first game there was just Tostada and Juan costumes. Now you can play as outright new characters. Some of them have new abilities, and in the DLC you can even play some of the villains. I'll be going over what each of those different characters do to the playability of the game and what their abilities are later on, because for right now we should just focus on what's the more prevalent stuff. First off, Los Manglares is a more linear, if you can believe it, Forest del Chivo from the first game, where they're just going to be slowly easing you in, including the forced fight rooms. These are a lot more common in Guacamelee 2 than they were in Guacamelee 1, and they were already pretty common in Guacamelee 1. However, unlike Guacamelee 1, I think there's actually a pretty good reason for them to be here now, because money is so much more important here in Guacamelee 2. Because while, yes, it was used for upgrades in the first one, and it still is here, upgrades cost a lot more. Also, to start off, you do have Zatabe and White Chivo, but if I recall correctly, they don't play any different. But that's also because I don't have my notes up for who plays like what yet. So we're just going to be sticking with Juan. Using the left trigger and the right analog stick is still your dodges. I tend to use the right analog stick more often than not, but you're going to see me taking a lot of stupid hits here early on in the game, because I have to get used to the control scheme again. Particularly with these slasher enemies. I just don't... My brain stops working, and I don't know why. You know how it is. Projectiles can also be dodged, as they'll tell you in a tutorial later on, so these bone-throwing skeletons, you can just dodge right through their stuff. Guacamelee is admittedly one of those games where early on is a lot harder to go back to than later on in the game, because you're just so limited in what you can do, both combat-wise and level design-wise. Because it's not like you can use your special abilities to ascend higher and skip certain platforms. No, you have to use every platform you can, basically. Like with the original game, though, even though we haven't technically seen our first percentage item yet. How I'm handling this LP is I'm getting as many items as I can along the way, and then right before end game, I'm going to go and get everything else. That sounds tedious, and honestly it can be, but there are some items that are so late in the game that will help with getting certain other ones that it's just going to help me in the long run. Even though most of them, again, are money, health ups, or stamina ups. Checkpoints this time around aren't the shops, by the way. They're just costume checkpoints. Costume changes and checkpoints. Money is used elsewhere. Something they're introducing a bit earlier in this game compared to the other one, though, is the big enemies, like those giant skeletons. I think they're called clobberers. Big enemies like that cannot be stunned the same way smaller ones can. You can still throw them with the Y button eventually after, I think, 6 hits compared to the usual 3. But you're going to want to keep them in mind for later. Pressing select brings up the map screen where we can see what's been on the map. If you've been close to a treasure chest where that stores an item, it'll actually show up on the map, and that's going to be the main way of figuring out what you may have missed. As is with the Guacamelee 1, trying to see if there's any areas on the map that are slightly faded on an edge, because that means you haven't technically finished that direction of the map. Now, I know I complimented Guacamelee 1's graphical style a lot, and it is really good looking. But really, this added lighting engine and the further effects that they added to the game's look really do just make this so good looking. I missed a chest there, but I actually don't think I can get that until I get the next ability anyway, so I'll be backtracking here in a few moments. Like Guacamelee 1, when I eventually get to backtracking, the way I'm going to be handling it is generally cutting from area to area unless it's really close to where the last one was. Hey, it's a Juzu statue! Juan, tostada! Finally, Dios mío, my butt was getting numb from hiding in that position. You're really looking like a proper luchador now, Juan, but flashy garb means nothing without the fundamentals. You'll need to get reacquainted with the proper moves if you're going to face Salvador. In case you forgot, Juzo statues hold the secrets of the ancient luchador techniques. The one you just rudely destroyed contained the legendary Rooster Uppercut. Rooster Uppercut breaks red blocks and can be formed in the air. But if you use it too much, you'll tire yourself out for a while. That's what you get for neglecting your training, man. Again, one of my favorite abilities in the game just because it lets you get a little bit higher. Go get him, Juan. Use up and B to perform the Rooster Uppercut. I'll meet you in Pantanillo. Compared to a lot of other Metroid-like games, this probably has the best explanation for why you lost your abilities since the last time. You just didn't train. The World of Peace, what was the point in doing it? Whenever you use a special move, which are the ones relegated to the B button, though, there is something to keep in mind, and that is the stamina gauge just below my health bar on the top left. I know it's pretty tiny, but that's partially just due to the resolution I'm playing at. When you use 1-up, you use one single bar of that. If you lose it all up, you glow red, and you can't use special abilities for an extended period of time. The best way to use stamina, especially when we get more stamina gauge meter, is to use all but the last one and then just let it recharge, because it recharges quicker than it would otherwise. At least I feel like it is. I technically don't have the math to pack that up, but I have a feeling that's how they made it work. Kind of like the opponent, the carrots with Epona in the Zelda games. Yeah, though, I've played a lot of the Metroid-likes over the years, and whenever they get a sequel, they always have to make up some excuse for why you've lost your prior stuff. And this happens with RPGs as well that get sequels. Like the Mega Man Battle Network and Star Force games are just as guilty of this, where you lose all your really good stuff. And Metroid's done some stupid stuff over the years to explain it, like the sudden explosion in Prime that takes you out of it. Prime 3, it's... Actually, did they ever explain what happened to her all this stuff in Prime 3? Was it just because it was technically with the light and dark suit and that was left on Aether? The Ing stealing in Prime 2. Other M tried. Yeah, I like that game a lot as a game, but as a story, it's very lackluster. And I can understand the idea of following your former CO because seniority and such, especially being a guy who's from a military family. But, like, she should have really taken control of that faster, barring power bombs. And the first upgrade item we find in the game is one of our stamina up pieces. Like in the first game, later throughout the game, as I mentioned earlier, are going to be heart and skull-shaped mask pieces. Getting 3 of each will up your health by a little bit and give you 1 stamina gauge, respectively. I believe in Guacamelee 1, I want to say it took 4, but it's been a year or so since we finished Guacamelee 1, I think, at this point. Probably not even. And I frankly can't remember that unless I'm playing the game actively. But one thing they definitely did is they made the animation for getting a piece much faster. There's a lot of just small quality of life improvements in the game that make it play faster, that just make this game much better flowing. Guacamelee 2 is overall just better paced. Ow. Though, don't get me wrong, even though this game starts off easy, it can kick your ass later on in the game, even if you're playing on normal. Because, like in the first game where you had to get the mask pieces through the orbs, and those could get a bit annoying, especially on the first playthrough, this game has its really, really fair share of that, and we'll be seeing that as we progress through. I'm not looking forward to a few certain challenges. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Now, actually, something that I'm technically going to be blind on for this playthrough is right before I started this LP, I actually did buy one of the DLC. Not the one that allows you to play as the villains in the game. I bought the Proving Grounds, which is a new set of challenges that I have yet to see or go through. And they're... I'm not going to lie, I'm a little afraid. Because these games can get hard. And the cool thing about the difficulty in these games, even though I really should save this when we get to our first actual challenges, like the one we're about to be seeing in a moment, is that it's not like false difficulty. It's execution difficulty, because some of the things here are pretty precise, but in a way that make you satisfied when you do it right. Because I love it when games hit that right balance of satisfaction versus difficulty. Making things hard just to make them hard isn't very fun. Same with making certain completion requirements require playing one minigame far too much. I'm looking at you, Yakuza series and its spin-offs with Mahjong. Especially Judgment, because I just beat that game the other day, and I'm gonna go for that platinum trophy eventually. It requires so much Mahjong. By the way, backtracking a little bit here to get that heart chest we see down there. I could have gotten this if I hadn't goofed up with this slicer earlier, I believe, or gotten hit by one of the bones. But since I'm here, I just have to come back this way. But thankfully, now that we have the rooster uppercuts, we can just not have to go around the entire circle again and just head up. I want to say Guacamelee 1 gave you a bit more stamina to start off, but they don't in this game because reasons. Gotta let the stamina recharge. Stamina recharge doesn't take too long. It's mostly there for combat purposes so you don't spam the moves, but when you run out of it in like platforming, it does get a bit annoying. Thankfully, they usually give you ways around it. Okay, this is it. Pantanillo, the Paris of the Bog. There should be a portal back to the living world inside of that giant tree trunk. Wait, so the Mexiverse has a France? Okay. I love this area. I've always liked Swamp Town aesthetics in games. It's actually one of the reasons I really like a certain region in Shadowbringers Final Fantasy XIV. But I love this kind of stuff. Well, aren't you a strange sight? A living luchador in the den world. You don't see that every day. Hup ho, hup ho. Oh, why hi there, stranger. Please excuse me. I was just blessing my delts. Well, no. Would you be interested in getting fit? No need bony old me to tell you to take more work than just listen to a lecture. You gotta work, work, work. Open up your skill screen with select to see the workouts I've got open in store for you. Soon enough we'll have you ripped as I'll get out. The upgrade system in this game is no longer just buying things at a shop and occasionally getting mask pieces. There are now outright minor upgrade trees that allow you to get certain abilities such as increased stamina, full health, more stamina, so on and so forth. That is where most of your gold goes. And compared to Guacamelee 1, they made everything a lot more expensive. However, that also means you're going to be using more of your money throughout the game. There are 5 trainers in the game. We're going to be slowly unlocking them as we go. 100% does require I get all of them, and trust me, you're going to want to get them all anyway. There are a fair share of side quests in this game, but they're usually a lot simpler than they were in the first game, or they don't require as much out-of-the-wayness, like the one side quest in the main village in the first game, where you had to talk like 16 different people or something stupid. It's not that many, it's a bit of exaggeration, but across the main town. Why did the skeleton want a friend? She was feeling bonely. So bonely. Yes, puns. Give me energy. Either way, let's head into the tree trunk in a moment. You're going to see a jump cut here. Because I wasn't sure of how big the files were going to be each recording this game, I take a few more breaks compared to the first one. Oh, thank goodness. It's so nice to finally see somebody. This portal here will lead you to the living world. Go ahead and jump right in when you're ready. The council is waiting. Okay. Oh, God. Chatter, jabber, jabber. Babble, jabber. Juan! Juan! Mascot in Tostada! Tostada, you made it, and with the luchador! Amazing! Juan, we are the Council of Way Chivos. Welcome to our secret hideout. We think Salvador may be after the sacred guacamole. Let me explain what that is. Lights, please. Tiempo Chile, the god of time, loved guacamole above all else. He spent centuries perfecting his recipe. However, sadness overcame him every time he finished eating a batch. Tiempo Chile became an idea, El Ultramundo.
A place where all of time converged. With guacamole in his past, present, and future, he'd never run out. Naturally, he was quite protective of his recipe. Mortals were not allowed to taste his sacred guacamole. So he hid the key to El Ultramundo inside 3 magic relics. And then he went to sleep. We think that Salvador wants to eat the sacred guacamole because he believes it'll give him godly powers and cure his sickness. But if he gets a hold of all of the relics, it'll make the voids even worse. The Jade relic should be inside the Jade Temple. Juan, you need to get there before Salvador does.
Okay.
Sacred guacamole. Quickly, Juan, to the Jade Temple. Time is of the essence. You heard me. Scoot, skedaddle.
Surprised this group doesn't have a dialogue. I love that there's like 80 different Wade Chivos, by the way, because he was already my favorite character in the first game. But goddamn. Also, what was that about Chicken Illuminati?
You again? I remember you. How'd you get back here? What? You thought you killed me? I wish. Not with this curse of mine. I'll be here for eternity, muchacho. Anyway, don't feel sorry for me. I've combined my 2 greatest joys in life, fighting and digi-bars. Why don't you meet me inside? You look like a man in search of a drink. And something to punch.
Okay.
Isn't this a scenic place for our reunion, Juan? My interior decorator was really on fire. Anyway, get in here, Poncho. Why don't we start with something simple? Show me how you punch this guy.
Flame Face's Fightatorium is essentially the combo chicken from the first game, where you come back here after learning new abilities, and he'll teach you combos that you can use at any time. It's just so you kind of have a way to learn them naturally. Doing so is going to get us a couple rewards throughout the game, mostly money, but I'm going to be coming here every opportunity that I can. Because it's just good to know these combos. Plus, with some of the abilities, I don't quite remember them, and the farther in you get, the more complex these combos get. Like right now, this is baby stuff.
Okay, geez, we get it. You're a real fancy past luchador. Just finish him off already.
Yeah, they always start you off simple with each combo lesson too, but then they get more and more complex. And sometimes I think it is completely positioning dependent, because if you're too far to the left with Poncho there, I think he would have flown to the right, and then you would have had to start all over.
I'm too disgusted to teach you anything else right now. Find me again when you get stronger.
Okay.
Wait just a second. I just remembered. You might have the moves, but there's one thing you'll never have. My mastery over the hit streak meter. I just keep whacking stuff without stopping it or getting hit. And it starts adding up. I can get a 49 hit combo.
Yeah, unlike the first game, where I don't recall them actually having a tutorial about this. The combo meter, they actually tell you about outright in this game, and some of the more need-to-know information about getting certain hit combos.
Okay, now if you get hit back, Poncho! You cannot attack someone in a conversation. That is against the law. Now get out of my flaming face. Anyway, if you ever get a hit like that, your hit streak meter will reset. Now try and break my record of 49 hits. You'll see it's impossible.
The big thing to note about the combo meter is that you get more combo points for defeating an enemy, as well as using special moves. Each special move has its own count. For instance, Rooster Uppercut is 3, but for mastering the combo hit meter, this is very important. Without a doubt, the biggest important thing about the combo meter in this game is the extra money you get for a high combo, and given how expensive upgrades can get through the skill trees, you're going to want to keep that in mind.
What? No! I don't know how you broke my record, Luchador. You must have been using power moves to get even bigger numbers with each hit. You cheater. Now get out of here. Don't even look at the benefits you can get on my skill tree.
Also, Flame Face is the next trainer. You might notice, even though we had the first two unlocked for Chamoya, for Fury fighting here, we have 2 different ones. I paused to show this again more in depth later on, this part, but with every single combo meter, or rather each skill tree, you unlock things depending on certain unlocks, like killing certain amounts of enemies in 3-hit combos, using special moves certain amounts of time, so on and so forth. It's not an actual skill tree like Borderlands where you get the next thing for unlocking the previous things. The only one I think that's true for in each skill tree is the final ability. I think you need to have gotten every other one in the tree for that.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, Luchador. You have your work cut out for you. Hey, Juan, it's been a while. How sharp are your fighting skills after all this time? You should talk to the loudmouth that runs the Finatorium near here. I bet he can give you a refresher. Already done that. This room's annoying. Rooster Uppercut, and now we're blocked by 2 different color blocks. As you can tell by those alone, though, there's going to be quite a few new abilities in this game all the same. It's not going to be outright just the same 5 or 6, I think there were in the first game. That blue blocks? No, I think it was just 4. I hope it's not going to take long to get back to my timeline. I have an acupuncture appointment I can't be late for. Wait, no, it was 5. There sure are a lot of white Chivos across the different timelines. One thing's for sure, though. I'm the real GOAT. Was it 6? I forget. Well, either way, let's start heading towards the Jade Temple. There's only one direction we can go, and that's east. And thankfully, that's exactly where it is. As soon as I remember to do that. There we go. Hey, Olmec!
Whoa, how long was I asleep? I was dreaming about that sacred guacamole. I could really go for some. Can't quite get the recipe right, though. It's always missing that special something. Have you seen any of my brothers? There's a faint family resemblance. If you find any more of us, please wake them up too, so that we can transport you between us. And maybe ask them about the secret ingredient while you're at it. Olmecs, like in the first game, once you fine-tune them, act as your Castlevania-styled warp points. We'll be using them quite frequently later on in the game, but for right now, since we only have one, and we don't have many areas to access it anyway, he's just going to be there kind of sitting until we later use it. Thankfully, Jade Temple, the walk to it is relatively close, and we're also going to get something pretty cool on the way. I know I brought up earlier in this video that the hardest part to replay about a Metroid game, or a Metroid-like, is usually the very beginning because you don't have any of the stuff you had at endgame. Well, that's true. There's also something I find very interesting about how they design the start of these kind of games. You usually can be a bit more linear just to ease you into the more explorative parts. And while Guacamelee is no Metroid when it comes to the exploration counts you can do, the way that they design around that is instead making the alternate pathways and items be entirely locked behind later abilities. And how they sparse those out through a game is always just interesting to me. And hey, that's a new little thing there on the left above the water. Death stuff. Ecto Cooler. Ecto Cooler. You can usually tell whenever you're about to enter a fight 'em all room like this when it's completely empty otherwise. Because most of the time, if you see an enemy in a room already, that's more than likely just going to be a straight-up standard room to go through. Wow, that's a big guy. Big enemies like this, like the pummelers, whatever, they cannot be stunned. However, I find these ones a bit easier to dodge because they're much more telegraphed with their attacks. You also do have to attack their upper body. If you attack their legs, nothing happens. Shh, I hear something.
Ah, at last, the sacred Jade Temple. You smell the mystic odor of dark magic?
Oh, is that what that funky smell is?
Once Salvador gets the Jade Relic,
Say no more. I will retrieve the relic. And Salvador will be friends with me. Best friends.
this is not one of your plays, Muñeco.
Please, I shall not fail. My lord and doctor shall not be relicless as long as I, the amazing Muñeco, can tap dance. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Not another musical number. Okay, Muñeco.
It's showtime. Meet my favorite character in this game. Looks like we have company. Let's find a way across. Muñeco is just a bunch of fun. But don't get me wrong, every character in this game is great and fun. But I just I always get a kick out of like the theater type character. I don't know why. I wasn't even a theater kid in high school. That was my friend Lucas. I don't know how you doing. I haven't seen him since high school already. But we can't go to the Jade Temple quite yet because one of those weird things is in the way, so we need to head this way instead. If we head over here to the right, we'll see we actually can't go this way yet because that's a lot of Ecto Cooler. So we're just going to have to head down and hope we can find what we need down here because of course we can. And we're going to because it's a video game. The turtle enemies are probably the worst you're going to encounter in the early games because they're relatively hard to hit while jumping. and hitting them while they're on the ground is nothing entirely. It's also at this point in the game, as we saw a bit earlier, that we're going to start having our shielded enemies. Like in the first game, a shield can only be broken by the matching color attack. For instance, red ones can only be broken by booster uppercut. If anything, the shields make things a bit easier to tackle because you can always figure out, okay, I'll go after these enemies first and use them. Because you can still throw things into shielded enemies to stun them. Alright, let's see what we got now. You're not our usual Wei Chivo.
Hey, Juan, my man. Isn't this place radical? You probably had no idea, but I'm the Wei Chivo from the Groovy timeline. The Wei Chivo from your timeline was busy, so he asked us other Chivos to help you out. He said something about a statue and a magic powder. Oh, wait, power! That makes way more sense. Eagle something or other for you to leap like a frog or... Oh, I got it. Soar like an eagle. Cool. Eagle boost. I love the eagles. Yeah, man. Eagles are pretty cool. Anyway, Swan, now maybe we'll be able to jump high enough to reach the entrance to the Jade Temple.
Eagle Boost is the game's first new ability. Essentially, it's the closest thing I can compare it to is the grapple beam from Metroid. Whenever you see one of these little hook points, you jump in the air and you press the Y button, and you'll soar in the angle that the little blue arrow is shooting you. However, because you have an arc right after you use it, you're going to want to be careful and aim a little bit higher than you think you're going to need to, as you can see there. That's the perfect example of it, honestly. Always aim a little bit higher. And thankfully, the recharge on the Eagle Boost is at such a way where you can technically hover on the same grapple point over and over again in case there's a hazard right below you want to avoid. Though more often than not, the game's going to require you to do many of them in succession, so you don't have to worry about things like that. And it also doesn't take up stamina, which is very important to know, because I thought it did on my first playthrough for a little bit, and that made things go a little south at times later on. Oh boy. You do want to be careful of knockback early in the game, because even though there's no like instant death pits, it's very possible to get stunned into another attack right after you recover from it in this game. Which kind of sucks, but oh well. Also, if I recall, isn't this our third stamina up? If it is, minor seizure warning. Yeah, that was the third one. Thankfully, it's not as bad as the first game, where whenever you got the third heart piece or stamina piece, God, you had seizures. Even it hurt my eyes. Even in this game, it's a lot less flashy, but still, if you're not expecting it, it might come as a surprise. Either way, welcome to the Jade Temple. I'm sorry, Templo de Jade. They refer to it as both. Now, like with the prior game and a couple of other Metroid-likes, dungeon design in Guacamelee 2 is very Shantae, Pirate's Curse, and Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, where they're fairly straightforward pathways that are just filled with platforming and combat challenges. Each one does have a sort of gimmick to it, but for the most part, it's relatively straightforward. It'll never be like Legend of Zelda. The best way to look at them, really, is, honestly, like Metroid games, they're just new areas that are portrayed as dungeons in the game's plotline. However, we're also starting to get our first instances of live dimensions swapping. Like in the first game, there are going to be portals quite frequently that will make you warp from the world of the dead to the world of the living and vice versa. And certain enemies are only damageable in certain dimensions. You can tell, obviously, which one you can hit and which one you can't just by their coloration. If they're completely black with like a white border, you can't damage them. As you can see on this screen and a couple of the previous ones, though, that also applies in a way to platforms. Like in the first game, whether or not you're in the world of the dead or living is what makes certain platforms usable. If they're outlined like that, you can't use them, but if they're sparkling, that means in the other dimension, they will not be usable. It's fairly straightforward, but I figured I should explain it just in case. Also, that is big. That is a big little dude. I think this game is overall harder than Guacamelee 1, despite its refinements, and honestly, in a way that's almost apparent from the start of the game, because they realized people who were playing this and probably played the first one, and thus they don't tend to dilly-dally with introducing you to the mechanics that slowly. Which is something I can appreciate. Like, here's a new thing. Buttons, blocks can now also be used as switches, which is fairly straightforward. I think later on they do some alternation puzzles where one switch turns on another one and it turns off another one, so on and so forth. Whoa, watch where you're stepping. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Down here. And I thought I had a thick skull. Seriously though, watch your step. A bunch of chickens just came through here. And apparently they missed the restroom on the way in. Oh, they had a magician with them? I've never trusted those guys. It's so bossy. Me pick a card, why don't you pick a card? Anyway, I've got no beef with luchadors. Mi templo es su templo. I love this dude. Anyone who makes puns, especially about skeletons, you're a friend of mine. And here's the stamina thing kicking in again. Again, early on in Guacamelee, it's always hard using the stamina just because you have so little. If I knew company was coming, I may have cleaned up some of this goo. Just ignore the mess. I'll give you a hand. Get it? Give you a hand? Pretty good, right? Sheesh, tough crap. Just little set pieces like this actually really make the dungeons of this game stand out compared to Guacamelee 1. Because Guacamelee 1's dungeons were very samey. Like, yeah, they had like more, like the second one had more movement gimmicks. The third one had a lot, the final dungeon had a lot more thundery going on. Like, it was aesthetically different. But there weren't any real set pieces to make them stand out, even if they weren't gimmicks. This skeleton guy alone just makes the dungeons better. Because having unique set pieces to make things more memorable really just sticks out. And now we're having dimension rectangles. I don't know exactly what to call these things, but essentially they're just moving dimension changes. You're going to want to keep with the right ones and stay in the wrong ones. No, wait, reverse that so you don't have to restart a room over like I do here a couple times. Because I suck at this kind of platforming for some reason from time to time, and I don't know what causes it. My brain just can't comprehend. And that was just me being slow on the dodge. Because whenever you do dodge something, you do get invincibility frames if you dodge an attack directly, but it's not enough that you can not get hit. You don't get permanent invincibility frames. It's just, you dodge the attack and then you're immediately vulnerable again. This room takes me a bit, by the way, because having this many enemies trapped in one dimension means that it can take a while. These main ones aren't too bad. When they start bringing in the enemies that try to dodge your attacks a lot here, it can get annoying. I don't even remember what the names of these enemies are. To be frank, I don't remember many of the enemy names in this series, because for the most part, they're skeletons. With the occasional chupacabra, and so on and so forth. Now, one thing I can't tell if it's just my brain being fooled by this slightly larger appearing health bar due to like a closer camera or something, but I feel like the enemies that aren't the base skeletons have more health in this game. But I don't have math to back that up again. I have a feeling it's just my brain playing tricks on me, but it could be. Whenever a new purchase becomes available at this point in the game on the upgrade tree, I'm generally going to go for it right off, especially if it gives me a new stamina circle, because that's just really good to get. But later on, you are going to have choices of which one you want to pick, and that'll be up to what your playstyle's like. I'll be doing what I'd like to do, you should do what you want to do. Oh, come on. Occasionally the game's gonna have rooms like this where a lot of the fights are just spent waiting for the enemy to be hittable. I'm debating speeding these rooms up starting in part 2, but I have yet to get to a point where I'm gonna consider that. Because part 2 and 3 are actually gonna follow this up relatively quickly, probably within a week. Because over these 5 months that I have been gone, yes, the anniversary just happened, but I also gained like 24 subs, and that's, we need to celebrate those milestones that we hit along the way. Those will be up relatively soon. I'll get to them when I can between school stuff, because this semester is a thing. Throwing enemies into other enemies is also still a very effective way of fighting, by the way, just because it stuns enemies long enough. And you can even throw one enemy into another, causing the other one to be throwable. And that getting that into like a chain is just really good. Be careful of these things. Because these platforms, when they go up, obviously they hurt. But you gotta want to keep in mind one thing. Notice how the spikes disappear after about a minute? Well, not a minute, like a second. Once those spikes disappear, these things are actually usable platforms. And the game's going to require you to platform around that starting now. The good news is, at least, is that they do decent damage to the enemies themselves. Oh, come on. The only thing is, since the enemies can also trigger them, that means you could take some really dumb hits. Like that. Oh, that was technically me. Shut up. Yeah, stop right there. Perfect. Oh, I just noticed that the statues in the background, their eyes glow when you get in front of them. Huh, that's a nice detail. Things like that you don't notice when you're playing because you're too focused on your main character. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Eagle boost. Barrels, whenever you smash a barrel, you obviously get money, but the red dots are health restoration. Same with the yellow dots. Those are stamina regeneration. Those are mostly there for in-between fights. Yeah. 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 Well, those are the chickens. One little minor storytelling detail, by the way, I like about this game, is that the first two barrels you take out, the one at Freya AA's church and the one at the Roll of the Dead when you first get there, they take multiple hits to get out, but the moment you actually get your mask back, they take one hit, which means we really let ourselves go. Also, this enemy is annoying because it gets so many invincibility frames when it's doing stuff.
Whoa, were they hiding behind him? Inside of him?
As you can see there, since we used a 3-hit combo on so many enemies, we unlocked a new ability to grab. So let's take a look at what that is once we finish this little menu. Here we are. Also notable, you can now actually head up here through the rib cage to access the first room again. That's mostly there in the case you miss a chest down here. I believe what we just unlocked is the top left of the Fighting Fury, which, if I'm recalling correctly, is just a straight-up strength upgrade for the 1-2-3 combo. Yes, it is. That might be my next priority for the upgrades, because I already have the 2 in Kamoya Fitness. But we'll see what I do when we get to the point. Now, there's a pathway up here, but we can't get up here yet because we're not Samus Aran and we don't have a wall jump. Great job, girls. We'll keep them busy with those skeletons. Especially the big one, the Underbelly Funny Bone. But where is the Jade Relic? It has to be here somewhere.
Yeah. I know the relic doesn't have legs, Gertrude.
I really don't appreciate your sarcasm right now. Take 5, okay?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress here. I can't even steal an ancient relic. What kind of friend am I? Yuck. Good idea, Loretta. Donna will go stage right with you. Let's split up to cover some ground. Remember, girls, let's do it in style. 5, 6, 7, 8. I love new Neko. I think part of it is just I love how he's animated because he's very old-timey cartoon at times. But also, I just love the personality of the character. It's so fun. Oh, you would do that. But thankfully, I can just let them crunch. Satisfying. I always get a laugh when they do things like that. I kind of wish there was a... Because that reminds me of Metroid Zero Mission when you get the Morph Ball bombs, but yeah. Power in a statue!
Wall jump with the power that is so powerful you cannot clean the walls and jump off them powerfully! Press left or right towards the wall to hold on to it and press A to jump off! Power!
Okay, now we have a wall jump. Thank you, Hulk Hogan. Oh, that hurt my throat a little bit, actually. Shit. How does he do that? But the wall jump is just plain and simple wall jump. There's no sequence breaks you can do with it. This game doesn't actually have many, if any, sequence breaks that I'm aware of. The speedrun probably has a couple, but I just don't know them. But this will allow us to get up to high places. And now they introduced the thing I mentioned earlier during the Kalaka fight, White and purple attacks that were introduced in Super Turbo Championship Edition still cannot be dodged. You just need to jump around them. They're going to be kind of dickish with that later on. Enemies can also use them, but only certain types. For instance, these wrestler types that are really annoying because I really suck at trying to get around their attacks otherwise. Hopefully they get pretty decent cash for being killed. Or killed. Fighting undead is always weird grammatically. The best way to take care of these wrestling enemies, though, is to do a 1-2-3 rooster uppercut into another 1-2-3 combo in the air, and then throw them down into the ground, where you can usually do another rooster uppercut right into them. And here's our first truly optional side room that gives us just a health up. These are always going to be platforming challenges, more or less, barring the one that we did earlier that was just getting around the bone-throwing skeletons. There's going to be some break points in some of these where it's going to be like multiple challenges in a row, but later on in the game, they are going to be a bit stricter with these, where you generally have to do it in fewer tries, especially for some of the very hidden stuff in the game, to put it one way. We'll get to that, I think, technically starting next part. And that's our first full health up. Health ups don't look that major in this game. That's just because the health and stamina bars are so small on the screen. Hey, let me give you a lift down. It'll be a joint effort. A joint effort? Nothing? All right, back to the drawing board. It's okay, I like your pun, skeleton dude. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2, I'll be continuing on the Jade Temple, and hopefully finding the Jade Relic before Muñeco does. See you guys then.